Heidi ho, neighbors. I just wanted to come on quickly because I had a really cool, I was journaling this morning and trying to work through, some roadblocks that I'm having. And I had a big revelation that I think a lot of you are going to be able to relate to. And I wanted to share it because I think if you can listen to and start adhering this principle, you are going to start taking some massive action instead of feeling overwhelmed like you do now. So, if you are like me or like many people in the world, it's easy to think about like maybe what you want to do in the future, where you want to go, what shifts you want to make, what pivots you need to take. But it can be overwhelming because you look at where you are now and where you want to be, and they seem so far apart. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how the heck I'm going to get there because there's way too many steps. So I teach a lot in coaching and in workshops. I teach a lot about bringing that big thing back down so that you say, okay, instead of I'm thinking about all the way getting from here to there, what are 3 things that I can do in the next 7 days? So I call it the 3 and 7. What are 3 things I can do in the next 7 days to start taking action toward the direction I want to go? I don't have to know every single step. I don't have to know exactly how I'm going to get there. I just have to think about what my very next messy action needs to be to get there, right? So that 3 and 7 is a principle I've been teaching for a long time. And if you apply that, it can get you really far. But I want to share with you this revelation I had today. So as I was journaling, I was talking about some of my big dreams and the how overwhelmed I can get when I start thinking about that really big picture, and what I can do to come back to the present, and why I get stuck thinking about that big thing. And one of the big things is around, I put so much pressure on my small actions having to lead to a certain next step, and figuring out I want to know what the ladder is to get to that big picture. So this was the revelation, and I want you to be thinking about this as you are feeling stuck. My small messy action brings me to my goal. So remember that, I can see that already, right? My small messy action brings me to my goal. So I have to take those small messy actions right now so that I can get to where I want to go. Okay, so your small messy action leads to your big goal. All right, but here was the kicker that I realized. I didn't know I was putting this pressure. However, I don't have to put the weight of my entire goal on each small, messy action. I'll say that again. I don't have to put the entire weight of my big picture on each small, messy goal, okay? So the weight of your big goal, your big dreams, where you really want to go, it doesn't land on each and every of those small, messy actions. So what I was doing was thinking to myself, I need to make sure that each of these small, messy actions is exactly leading me to where I need to go. Instead of saying, I'm just going to take these small, messy actions and not worry about that bigger picture while I'm taking it. Does that make sense? So let's say, for example, you really want to write a book. And you're trying to think of what's each chapter going to look like, what's every story I'm going to tell, instead of just saying, you know what, my first small messy action is I'm going to call this one friend that I know wrote a book already and ask them some questions. And I'm just going to write out what are 3 of the main things that I want to say. If you're trying to be like, well, that all has to make a bunch of sense, and if I don't get this right, I'm going to get it all wrong. That's too much pressure. Come back and just be like, I'm going to do it regardless. And I'm going to trust that when I do it, I will be creating clarity. I will understand better than what my next messy action is. And those are all they will all together ladder up, but don't put the pressure of the big thing on each and every small messy step. So I would love to hear from you if that resonates with you. So drop a comment, even if you're watching the replay, just drop a comment and thumbs up, be like, yes, I get that. What is the thing that you want to pivot? What are the changes you want to make in your life? Listen, especially right now in this season where things are so difficult and we've been forced to make changes. On the flip side of that is we also have this opportunity to really ask, what are the shifts that we need as we move forward? So instead of going back to life as it was normally before, what are the pivots that you need to make in order to create a life that you really want? What are those pivots? I'm going to be talking a lot about this in the upcoming weeks because I think this is the time that we have to dig in. So if you know, if your soul is telling you that there's something that you need to pivot, I want you to tell me what is holding you back from taking that pivot, because I'm going to create some resources and I'm going to do probably a little challenge with you guys for a few days to help you get aligned with the pivots you want to make so that you have the courage to do what you need to do. So let me know, drop some comments. Natalie, I see your hands, woohoo, so you can relate. I like it. And if you're watching the replay, drop it in there. I will check back on these later, but remember that the weight of your whole big goal doesn't have to rest on each messy action. You just have to keep taking those messy actions. All right, you guys got this. We're going to pivot together. Tell me what your pivots are. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Yes.